Hello folks, today I will talk about some of the differences which exist between Roy Bhaskar's philosophy of metaReality and an emerging movement which is known by some people as New Critical Theory. Both are grounded or originated in arguably Marxist approaches, or at least approaches influenced by Marxism, but both have move beyond Marxism, but in considerably different ways. And so I will try to simply describe what those ways are. First, to begin, I'll mention that Engels, Friedrich Engels, the co-founder of Marxism, Karl Marx's collaborator, toward the end of his life, was, I think, moving in the direction of something which was beyond dialectical materialism or historical materialism. It never quite got to that point, but I think if he would have lived a few more years, he might have. I'll read you a couple of quotations. Obviously, these are English language translations. First one is from The Dialectics of Nature, which was written back in 1883. And here, Engels appears to describe a version of a cosmic envelope, something like what Roy Bhaskar would call a cosmic envelope, non-duality, something like a ground state, perhaps. Here's the quotation. Motion, in the most general sense, conceived as the mode of existence, the inherent attribute of matter, comprehends all changes and processes occurring in the universe, from mere change of place right to thinking. The whole of nature accessible to us forms a system, an interconnected totality of bodies, and by bodies we understand here all material existence extending from stars to atoms, indeed right to ether particles, insofar as one grants the existence of the last named. In the fact that these bodies are interconnected is already included that they react on one another, and it is precisely this mutual reaction that constitutes motion. It already becomes evident here that matter is unthinkable without motion, and if, in addition, matter confronts us as something given, equally uncreatable as indestructible, it follows that motion also is as uncreatable as indestructible. It becomes impossible to reject this conclusion as soon as it was recognized that this universe is a system, an interconnection of bodies. So there is a kind of materialist concept of unity, or the cosmic envelope. Certainly, there is no mention made there of anything spiritual, of any God, but I think Engels was moving in the right direction. In an earlier work, this is called Landmarks of Scientific Socialism from 1877, Engels appears to have actually admitted the possibility of some type of existence, as he termed it, beyond the boundary line of our horizon. Here is the quotation. If we speak of existence, and merely of existence, the unity can only consist in this, that all objects with which it is concerned exist. They are comprised under the unity of this common existence and no other, and the general dictum that they all exist cannot give them any further qualities, common or not common, but excludes all such from consideration in advance. For as soon as we take a step beyond the simple fact that existence is common to all things, the distinctions between these separate things engage our attention, and if these differences in this, that some are black, some white, some alive, others not alive, some hither and some beyond, we cannot conclude therefrom that mere existence can be imputed to all of them alike. The unity of the universe does not consist in its existence, although its existence is a presumption of its unity, since it must first exist before it can be a unit. Existence beyond the boundary line of our horizon is an open question. The real unity of the universe consists in its materiality, and this is established not by a pair of juggling phrases, but by means of a long and difficult development of philosophy and natural science. So, Engels was certainly admitting to the concept of unity, something like the cosmic envelope, and he even implied the possibility of some other type of existence beyond the boundary line of our horizon. Now to new critical theory and metareality. New critical theory comes out of critical theory, commonly known as the Frankfurt School, because it originated in Frankfurt, Germany. Max Horkheimer was one of its initial founders. Some of the better-known individuals are Herbert Marcuse and Erich Fromm. And basically, what these individuals were doing was attempting to combine Marxism with some other things, and in particular Freudianism. There's a lot of Freudianism in original critical theory. What new critical theory has done is to basically replace Freudianism with social constructionism. So you have a basis in critical theory including an emphasis on emancipation from capitalism and emancipation in general, but also the idea that the social structures and social systems that we observe around us are socially constructed. If they are socially constructed, that means that they can, in principle, also be deconstructed. They can be changed, they can be eliminated, and they can be replaced. So the concept of new critical theory is basically one which, in effect, combines a kind of Marxist perspective with social constructionism. Social constructionism, which can be traced back to Peter Berger in his book, The Social Construction of Reality, as well as to some of the work by Michel Foucault, who's considered to be one of the originators of the philosophy of post-structuralism, although Foucault himself rejected that label. Now, the philosophy of metareality. The philosophy of metareality comes out of critical realism. What Bhaskar has done is, rather than develop critical realism into a kind of postmodernist social constructionism, instead he has, in effect, turned it into almost a kind of spiritual philosophy of sorts, or a spiritual theory, by discussing the concept of the cosmic envelope, the non-duality of existence, which, according to the philosophy of metareality, exists alongside two other kinds of reality, one which is relative reality, or difference or diversity, and a third which is demi-reality, which is disunity. So we have those three different levels of reality, which are a part of the philosophy of metareality. So that is, I think, a superior development. It is one which is more useful, while recognizing that we as human agents engage with reality, and certainly by engaging with reality we have some influence on it. Reality is not dependent upon us. We are not the sole constructors of existence. existence exists, would be there apart from us. Even if we were not there, existence would be there. We are not the architects of the universe, including the social universe. So I think the philosophy of metareality gives us both. It gives us a way of talking about agency, meaning the human activity and the influence of instrumental human activity upon existence, while at the same time talking about the concept of reality as being independent of agency. So both, I think, are important, and both are emphasized in the philosophy of metareality. Therefore, I would recommend that anyone, regardless of whether they are an academic or anyone else, to study the philosophy of metareality, whether through the works of the primary works of Roy Bhaskar, which are in English, or any of the other works which have been written about the philosophy of metareality, and use that basically as a way of looking at the world and the universe. And I think it is very useful, and I think it makes more sense out of things than most any other philosophy or theory I have considered. Until next time, this is Dr. Mark Foster. Have a good one.